Greetings, my name is Neosekken, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Now in the last episode, I started my investigation into Will Powers' arrest, and well, so far it would seem as though the evidence is stacked against him, but what's most interesting is a photo of the Steel Samurai walking towards Studio 1 of the film studio around the time the murder took place, which was 12:30. And that photo was taken at 2 o'clock, so a 30-minute time difference in between the Steel Samurai going there and the actual murder, according to what we know of the case so far. But it's kind of strange to think that Will Powers would be in costume as he was going over there to murder Jack Hammer, the victim. Now, what exactly this means, I assume we're going to find out either in this... Yeah, I'm assuming we're going to find out soon enough. Maybe. Anyway, let's just go ahead and get this started. October 18th, 10 a.m. District Court, Courtroom Number 4. Hello again, Edward. Court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Will Powers. Prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Very well. Mr. Edgeworth, your opening statement, please. The prosecution will show the court that at 2:30 p.m. on October 15th, the defendant, Mr. Will Powers, killed fellow actor Jack Hammer in Studio 1 of Global Studios. It is impossible for anyone else to have committed this heinous crime. Well, we shall see, my friend. The evidence presented during the trial will all point to this fact. I see. Very well. I'd like to move on to some testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, the prosecution may call its first witness. Very well. I call a most familiar face, Detective Gumshoe, to the stand. Hello, Sweet Shoe. Detective, if you would briefly describe this case to the court. Yes, sir. I'll explain with the guide map here. To understand this case, it's important to grasp the layout of the studios, see? This here is the employee area. The actors did a run-through of their action scenes during the morning here. This is the main gate to the studios. The security lady that works at the studios was here at 1 p.m. on that day. Past the security station there is a gate, see? Past that are the studios. And here it is. Studio 1. This is the scene of the murder, where the body was found. Now, on the day of the murder, October 15th, there were only 3 people here. The victim, Jack Hammer, the defendant, Will Powers, and the young woman, the production assistant. All the production staff were in the employee area until noon. Then after lunch, the victim, Jack Hammer, went to Studio 1. Right after that, at 1 p.m., the security lady got to the guard station. Now jump ahead to later that day, 5 p.m. The production staff came to Studio 1 to perform a rehearsal. Needless to say, the rehearsal was cancelled. The time of death was 2:30 p.m. The samurai spear found lodged in the victim's chest was the murder weapon. That's the case, in brief. Anyone like to hear that again? Should I listen to that whole thing again? No, I don't need to. I got it perfectly fine the first time. I think I could probably remember that. So the murder weapon was a spear. How medieval. Samurai spear. This spear was found stuck in the chest of the victim. Your Honor, this case is quite simple, if you ask one question. And that question is, what did the security lady at the guard station see? Understood. Let's call the security officer to the stand. Will the witness declare her name? And here, something beautiful will blossom. Something beautiful will occur before our very eyes in just mere moments. Commit to memory. Will the witness declare her name? It's even worse in HD. My, aren't you a handsome fellow? I'm afraid I'm a bit flustered. It is the beginning of true love, ladies and gentlemen. Love at first sight. Your name, please. Oh, dearie. No need for you to be embarrassed. Just call me Grandma. Your name, please! Seems Edgeworth has a bit of trouble getting his witnesses to say their names. No kidding. Wendy Oldbag, dearie. What a very fitting name. So just call me Case in Point. Objection! I object to the witness's talkativeness. Objection sustained. The witness will refrain from rambling on the stand. Let's just get into the good part, dearie. Perhaps we can get to the testimony. Now, the witness was stationed at the main gate on the day of the murder, correct? Yes, say I was. And to get to the scene of the murder, someone would have to pass by you. You know your stuff, dearie. You may begin your testimony. She sure is one hell of an old bag. The one and only. The myth. The legend. Now, on the day of the murder, I arrived at the guard station at 1 p.m. Poor old Hammer and the rest had been doing a run-through there since the morning. I had some errands to run that morning. Anyway, it was 1 when I got to the guard station. I was at the main gate from then until 5. Now, the murder happened at 2:30 p.m., right? Interesting to me, because a certain man walked by me at 2 p.m. It was Powers. That man right there, and he was heading toward the studio. And I believe, at last statement, I need to present the photo. You saw the defendant then? Very well. Let's begin the cross-examination. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. Here we go again. Cross-examinations. Okay. So what errands did you have to run? I don't know if this is important or not. What kind of errands? Oh, well, you know. Answer the question. Actually, I was watching poor Hammer and Powers. Observing, you know. Observing? Weren't you supposed to be at the guard station? Whippersnapper! I told you I'd lock the gate, didn't I? I did my job! I'm not sure your boss would see it that way. Anyway, I always watch Hammer's run-throughs. Always. Never missed one in all my years. Wow. I want to see a Steel Samurai run-through too. You could quit being a spirit medium and take up guard duty. Not a bad idea. Important information for later. It's 1 p.m. So, I'll just go ahead and press this just to be on the safe side. So you saw Mr. Powers. That's what I said. Got wax in your ears, Sonny? Nick, this is your chance. Yeah, time to pull out the secret weapon. I'll say it again. It was him. Okay. It's your funeral. Objection! Let me get this straight, old bag. Mrs. Oldbag. You've been saying since yesterday that you saw Mr. Powers, correct? But you're talking about the man in this photo, aren't you? Just a moment, Mr. Wright. Let me see that photo. What is this exactly? None other than the Steel Samurai, defender of Neo-Old Tokyo. Miss Oldbag, is this the Mr. Powers that you saw? Of course. Didn't your mama teach you any sense, sonny? Anyone can plainly see that's Powers, right? No, they can't! Thank you for coming to my aid, Edgewort. Well, I mean, I wonder. True, Mr. Powers does play the role of the Steel Samurai. But that doesn't mean Mr. Powers is the Steel Samurai. I know that! I wasn't born yesterday! No one in this court is accusing you of that, Miss... Witness. Seriously, he's having trouble calling her Old Bag, apparently. What a really unfortunate name, though. And again, a lot of characters in this series has unfortunate names, if you ask me. However, you do not have proof that the person in this photo is Mr. Will Powers, do you? Nosy old man. Of course I have proof. What? Huh? Even Edgeworth is surprised? Apparently. The prosecution would like to ask the witness. I mean, hey, it's better for me that he's out of the loop too. That means he isn't exactly prepared. It gives me a chance to one-up him. Please make known all the information in your possession ahead of time. How was I to know everyone would be so nosy? You should be ashamed, all of you. Anyway, I showed that photo to the young detective. He told me this isn't any good as evidence, pal. He didn't even give it a second look. I hear something in the distance. I think it's Sweet Shoe's salary taking a very massive hit. Wow. Old Windbag has left even Edgeworth speechless. She's good. Let's hear about your proof, then. Man in the photo. I never say anything I don't mean, mind you. That morning, during the run-through of the action scene, I saw Powers trip and fall. He broke one of the props. It was a big mess. And it looks like it was the spear, yeah? Apparently, he sprained his ankle pretty bad. Now look at that picture. You can see he's dragging his leg. See? Clear as day. That's how I knew it was Powers. Happy? So he had sprinted his ankle. Very well. Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. So the spear was broken, so how could it have been used as a weapon? She's got to be hiding something. I'll press her until she squeals. Yeah, that's pretty much what I was thinking to do, too. So we're gonna press everything. You never say anything you don't mean. Whippersnapper! Hey, I haven't said anything yet. I'll have you know I'm not pointing fingers at anyone behind their backs. Everything I said is on the straight and narrow. Okay, here she goes again. Mr. Wright, please, for all our sakes, try not to upset the witness. I think Edgeworth has met his match. That morning, during the run-through the action scene, who was present at the run-through? Well, let's see. There was Powers, he's the Steel Samurai. Then poor old Hammer, the evil magistrate. And me. And what exactly were you doing? Observing. Just observing. What about the assistant? Oh, she was off moving backdrops around and such. So she didn't see the run-through then. I saw Powers trip and fall. Trip and fall. Yes, I think he's supposed to be the Steel Samurai. What a laugh. So Powers sprained his ankle. I helped make it better for him, of course. By how? Rubbing rock salt on it? You helped make it better? I kissed where it hurt. Let's skip over that part, shall we? Well, I guess it was kind enough for you to offer a kiss. Where was the assistant then? Oh, her? She was cleaning up backdrops, I think. She didn't know about Powers' ankle. You may continue your testimony. He broke one of the props. It was a big mess. He broke a prop. Sure did. His own samurai spear. His samurai spear. The murder weapon? Luckily, I was there to fix it. I was there with my duct tape to fix it. It strikes me as a significant detail. Better write this down in the court record. Okay, we got updated. Murder weapon. A break in the shaft has been mended with duct tape. Apparently he sprained his ankle pretty bad. Was Mr. Powers' ankle badly sprained? Not so bad that he couldn't walk around. He went to his dressing room to rest up after lunch. That's the nap. Anyway, I saw him dragging his foot when he walked. Dragging his foot. Okay. I think we've heard enough. Haven't we, Your Honor? Well, there is one thing that bothers me. Which is... where is this steel samurai costume now? Actually, well... we couldn't find it. We're looking, though. Interesting. Anyway, that's not important. The witness did see the steel samurai, yes. And it is clear that the person in the steel samurai suit was Mr. Will Powers. I suppose that's right. Are you sure, Your Honor? Object! Object to everything! Except when not to. Hold it right there. We keep talking possibilities, but will we have to agree that this photo shows the steel samurai? Nowhere in this photo can we see Mr. Will Powers. The defense has a point. I also wonder if someone else not caught on camera could have killed Mr. Hammer. Also a good point. We have to consider that possibility also. Then allow me to remove that doubt from your mind, Your Honor. Will the witness continue her testimony, please? No need to ask twice. Witness's account continued. The time before Hammer's death was 2:30 p.m., true. The only person I saw go to the studio before then was Will Powers. No one else went there. If they had, I would have seen them. Yeah, and then how do you explain the second photo that's missing? So if no one else went to the studio, then it wouldn't have to be the steel samurai who did it. Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Let's do it. Yeah, I think this is the piece of evidence I need here. Let's just press a bit. How do you know that? Huh? Didn't I just explain? I gave donuts to the young detective. And then, after some rubbish about being a secret pal, he told me everything. I see Detective Gumshoe shares his fellow officer's fondness for donuts. The only person I saw go to the studio before then was Will Powers. Are you absolutely sure? Oh, quite, Sonny. Nobody's suspicious looking passed by at all. Nobody suspicious looking. Right. No one else went there. What about before you got to the guard station? You mean before 1 p.m.? Why, everyone was in the employee area before then. And I locked the main gate so no one could get in. Not to mention, if they had, I would have seen them. Are you sure? The witness has answered the question. Anyone going to the studio had to pass by the witness. That's right, Sonny. You let him have it, edgy boy. Edgy boy. I can smell the fear, and it smells delicious. Old Windbag sure has balls. Or, well, you know what I mean. This is my favorite redemption. That's my favorite redemption. Fuck, I know the word, but it's my favorite version of your annoyed expression thus far. It is the best one for sure. It just looks the most deadpan ever. Old Windbags have a way of skipping over important details, after all. For that matter, entirely forgetting them. How convenient. Some for you to look forward to, perhaps? I think this is what I got present here. Yep, I was right. I love it when I'm right. Hold on. Look at this photograph one more time. This photo was taken by the camera at the gate for the studios, correct? Yes, sirree, Sonny. So whenever anyone passes by here, it automatically takes a picture. And here, I thought you didn't know your head from a hole in the ground. I will not justify that remark with a response. Just good old rubbing your face with evidence. Right. Anyway. It's also true that the computer in the guard station records all security cam data. Oh! You know, if you want to work at the studio, we might have an opening. That very computer printed out this photo. Note that on the back of the photo are printed the words, October 15th, 2 p.m., photo number 2. Even I know what that it means taken at 2 p.m. on October 15th. Really, Sonny? Actually, I knew that too. The issue here is the bit at the end where it says, photo number 2. Photo number 2? The computer only held data for one photo on that day. Don't you think that's odd? Shouldn't this be photo number 1 if it really was the only photo? Well, old lady, I would like an explanation. Order! Order! Please tell the court what you mean by this, Mr. Wright. Actually, that's what I want to ask the witness. This evidence shows that not one, but 2 people went to the studio that day. Yet there is only data for one of the photos. Who could have erased the data for the other photo? Only someone with access. The security lady herself. Eh? You watch your mouth, whippersnapper! The only person I saw that day was Will Powers. But the camera on the gate fired twice. That means 2 people went by. Well, yes. That's what it would seem to mean. Can the witness explain this to the court? I don't understand these newfangled computer things. Edgy boy, help! Huh? Believe me, I want to, but I don't know what this means either. Thank God. Better for me. Some help you are. You're a whippersnapper too. What you got for me now, old bag? You're making everything turn to black. Whippersnapper. Something the matter, Miss Oldbag? Ah, that's right. I just remembered something. Let me guess. Someone else passed by the gate. Someone other than the Steel Samurai? Well, yes, I suppose you could put it that way. I see. Your testimony, please. The other person. Tell us about this other person, old bag. Every day, after I finish my guard duties, I have one other important job to do. I go through the photos recorded on the security computer and check them. I throw out any photos that weren't suspicious looking, you see. Come to think of it, now I remember throwing out one photo that day. Missile bag! This is the first time I heard of this. Well, of course, Sonny. I only just remembered it. Right. Anyway, Mr. Wright, please begin the cross-examination. Well, I'd say this was a turn for the unexpected, but I kind of expected this. My sentiments exactly. Okay. Let's press a bit more. Another job. That's right. I check all the people I passed by the main gate that day. I look closely at every one of the photos that security camera takes. Do you back up all the security camera data? Well, they keep telling me to, yes. But those computers are just so frustrating. I throw out any photos that aren't suspicious looking, you see. That's another thing you're not doing your job properly on. How exactly do you determine what isn't suspicious looking? Oh, you can tell just by looking at their faces. For the most part. For the most part? I don't need no Weasley testimonies full of weasel words and Weasley intents. I need something more solid. This is a murder trial, Miss Oldbag. Well, I didn't touch that suspicious-looking Will Powers photo, did I? I think she's missing the point. Come to think of it, now I remember throwing out one photo that day. Well, who in the heck was in that photo you erased? A fanboy. Fanboy? Steel Samurai fanboys. Real freaks, if you ask me. They get information about the rehearsals from gosh knows where. They're always hanging about. One was there that day. But wait a second! Didn't you just say no one else could get in? I locked the main gate so no one could get in. Those were your words. Well, if you must know, there's a drain that goes into the employee area. The grate has been loose for a while. It leads outside, and, well, that's where they come in. They come in through the drain? They're like bugs. I told you they were freaks. Oh, and they're kids. Children. Whippersnappers. Kids? So on the photo that you erased, he was a boy. Probably 2nd or 3rd grade. What?! Order! Order! Let me get this straight. You saw 2 people pass by the gate on their way to the studios that day. One was a Steel Samurai, dragging his leg. The other was a boy who looked to be in about 2nd or 3rd grade. Well, yes. Oh, sorry. Oh, yes. Well, we see his type there every day. Can't stop him. Can't catch him. A boy in 2nd or 3rd grade. I assume it would be hard, if not impossible, for a young boy to wield the samurai spear. Impossible, I'd think. It's quite heavy. Right. As I said, I didn't pay him much mind. That's why I erased the data. Nick? What's going on? I mean, the boy was there. That makes him a suspect. Yeah, and they're already trying to unsuspect him. This court will take a 5-minute recess. I want the defense and the prosecution to consider this new information. And no forgetting vile information this time. Okay, we got 5 minutes to consider everything we already know. Done. Okay, October 18th, 11:08 a.m. District Court Defendant Lobby number 3. Mr. Powers. Yes? Tell me straight. Were you really in your dressing room? You didn't go to the studio. I didn't go to the studio! I was sleeping. Honest. So who was in Steel Samurai? Who was the Steel Samurai in that security photo? How should I know? The Steel Samurai costume was off in the corner of the dressing room. Anyone could have walked in and taken it, really. What? You should have taken better care of that stuff. I couldn't imagine anyone would want to steal a Steel Samurai costume. So, where does this leave me? It doesn't look good. You're the only likely suspect right now. Nick! What are you going to do? What are we going to do? First, we play for more time. We'll start targeting someone else that could conceivably have done this. Right. And it'll take them so long to shoot us down that we can get another day. Right. But if we pick the wrong person, we might lose on the spot. You don't sound very optimistic. I'm not optimistic at all, actually. Hey, Nick. It's time. Okay. Let's go. What does that mean? Please don't sigh like that. It means we're just gonna wing it and hope for the best. Court will now reconvene for the trial of Mr. Will Powers. Mr. Edgeworth, will you present the prosecution's thoughts on this matter? The prosecution's thoughts are simple. I hope so for my sake. I don't need anything complex right now. Nothing has changed. Well, that's about as simple as you can make it then. The other person who went to the studios was a boy of roughly 10 years of age. The photo we do have may not be hard evidence. But there is still no one else that could have committed this crime. I call for a verdict of guilty for the defendant, Mr. Will Powers. Very well. Mr. Wright, your thoughts? The defense disagrees with the prosecution's claim. Well, you have to. You are the defense. There is another person who could have committed this crime. Order. Interesting. Let's hear who you have in mind. However, be aware that this court does not look kindly on accusing the innocent. If you accuse someone who is obviously innocent, you will be penalized. Right. Great. As if the stakes weren't high enough. So, who was this person other than Mr. Powers that could have committed this murder? Well, we could try... The assistant girl. It was the assistant! The Steel Samurai costume was in his dressing room. She stole it, and in doing so, she became the Steel Samurai. So you're saying the Steel Samurai, as in the picture, is really the assistant? That's correct, Your Honor. Objection! Oh shit, I think I'm about to be penalized. If you're serious, you've got guts, Mr. Wright. Remember the photo. Wasn't the Steel Samurai a little lame? He was dragging his foot. Oh. Uh-oh. Bad feeling time. Remember the testimony concerning Powers' injury. Powers' poor hammer at a run-through. And me. She didn't know about Powers' ankle. Shit. I forgot about that. The assistant knew nothing of Mr. Powers' injury. She could look at the Steel Samurai. She could look the Steel Samurai look at that costume. But she couldn't walk the Steel Samurai walk. She wouldn't have limped. Ugh. That kind of takes the legs out from under that case. Mr. Wright, I'm afraid I have to penalize you as I warned. God damn it. Nobody knows the trouble I've seen. I do. And it's entirely my fault. May we move on, Mr. Wright? Gah, this fight isn't over yet. If you would, Your Honor, one more chance, please. Well, it can't be the grade school boy. No. Yeah, let's do the security lady. There's a security lady. Windy old bag. Who? The steel samurai is dragging his leg in this picture. That means whoever was in the suit knew about that morning's injury. Maybe because they had been watching the action scene run through. There was only one person other than Powers and Hammer who knew about the injury. The security lady. Old bag. What? Whippersnapper! Order! Order! Is this true, Old Bag? Old Bag? That's Miss Old Bag to you! Miss Old Bag was standing guard alone at the main gate. She was by herself. In other words, she has no alibi. She could have briefly left her post to steal the Steel Samurai costume. Then slipped into Studio 1, the scene of the murder. Why would she go through the trouble wearing the Steel Samurai costume? To frame somebody for murder, obviously. Simple, your murder. Your honor, excuse me. She knew the camera at the gate would take her picture. Hence why, framing for murder. If she was in his costume, she could point the finger at Mr. Powers. I see. Excellent deductive reasoning, Mr. Wright. Oh yeah, right here. Sherlock Holmes II, baby. That's odd. Isn't this the part where Edgeworth pounces? Doesn't he usually jump up with an objection and some new damning evidence? Well, Mr. Edgeworth, does the prosecution have an opinion on this matter? The prosecution has no meaningful objections at this time. What? What's that supposed to mean? Oh, so you think, so y'all think I did it? Is that it? Edgy boy, don't just sit there. Do something. What's my move? Maybe now's my chance to take this the whole way. Press further. The same reasoning that makes Mr. Powers a suspect in this case can be used to cast doubt on Miss Oldbag's actions on that day. Why would I do something so horrible to poor Hammer? You forget that Mr. Powers lacks a clear motive, too. Indeed. That did it. Now Windbag is one of the suspects. No hard feelings, I hope. Wait just a minute! What about the other person who went to the studio? The boy! The one whose photo I erased! He's only a grade schooler, though, as you said. 2nd or 3rd grade, was it? That doesn't matter! When I was that age, I could pin my old man in 10 seconds, tops! Your thoughts, Mr. Wright? She could be lying, you know. That boy is not the killer. What? How can you be so sure? Oh, or is it be nice to the kids and mean to your elders day? Whippersnapper? I have proof. Proof? Indeed. And let's see this proof, Mr. Wright. You have proof that shows the boy could not have committed this murder. Well, let's see. We got this card key.
Take that!
The scene of the murder, as we all know, was Studio 1. However, you need a card key to enter Studio 1. How could a boy with no formal relation to the studios have a card key? I see. Well, would the witness care to comment on this? The Windbag. Speechless. This has got to be a first. Enjoy it while you can. Very well. This court will suspend proceedings on the current trial for today. Mr. Edgeworth, please find out more about your witness, Miss Windy. What was her name? Something Oldbag, Your Honor. And the prosecution will look further into this old bag before we continue. That is all. This court is adjourned. I'm surprised that... Wait a second! Never mind, she's got something to say. I'm not going to just sit here while you run off barking up the wrong tree. Me? I'm talking! Oh, great. Stop the presses. The windbag wants to talk. I missed having you around, Maya. Miss Oldbag, what is this all about? Have you omitted something from your testimony? Actually, if you must know, there was something I was told not to talk about. Not to talk about? But by who? Huh? You mean it wasn't Edgeworth who told her not to talk? Well, testify! My lips were sealed. Global Studios wanted me to keep quiet about something. There were some other people at the studios on the day of the murder. Yes, go on. They said they had nothing to do with it, see? So they told me to just pretend they hadn't been at the studios that day. But if you're going to go accusing me, I'm not letting them get away scot-free. Miss Oldbag! This is crucial information. Why did you keep this from the court until now? 'Cause she was gag-ordered, buddy. Ain't you been listening? They told me to shut my trap, and I always do what I'm told. No, this isn't a bad dream, Your Honor. Witness the power of the old bag. Mr. Wright, your cross-examination. Okay, I think we just got press on everything, so let's do just that. So what did you want to keep quiet about? So you're told not to talk. That's right, by a studio and a TV bigwigs, no less. Why didn't I hear about this? Don't be too hard on yourself, Sonny. We were all in on it. There were some other people at the studios on the day of the murder. Who are these people? Well, the director and the producer, for starters. The director? We should have known something was fishy. How could they have done a run-through of their action scene without a director? Of course! Yes, well, I was surprised no one asked about it. So, where were these people? The director was in the employee area all morning for the run-through. He joined the producer around lunchtime, and they had a meeting after that. Where? Oh, in the Studio 2 trailer. Studio 2? There was a Studio 2? Yes, there was! Haven't you been paying attention? Well, if you look at the guide map, here it is. You go through the gate, and all the way to the left, and conveniently, the walkway to Studio 2 to Studio 1 is right past the gate, so anyone walking between those two areas wouldn't have been caught by the camera. Half of the monkey's head was falling over. Well, Mr. Wright, let's continue. Yes, I would like to continue the cross-examination. You've already asked all my questions, but let's continue. He said nothing to do with it. Miss Oldbag, this is a trial for murder. I know that, silly. Still, they were pretty convincing about having nothing to do with it. And they gave me a little bonus on the side. So, hush money. So you got your bonus, and you still talked. Okay, continue. Guess there's no harm in getting as much info as I can. Exactly. Global Studios wanted me to keep quiet about it. Okay. So they told me to pretend they hadn't been at the studios that day. So they were actually in the studio. Yes, the whole day. When they heard about the murder, they beat it before the cops came. Kill this woman, I swear it. But who will come to your defense, Edgeworth, if you murder somebody in court? Probably me, because what reasons? I feel sorry for Edgeworth. Almost. She really left him hanging on this one. And yes, I know he's speaking figuratively about wanting to murder the old lady. But if you're going to go accusing me, I'm not letting them get away scot-free. them. Who were these people? Well, the director and the producer, for starters. The director? You should have known something was fishy. Okay, the director, of course. This looks like the same exact dialogue. Okay, did I ask everything? Okay, I think that's just 3 statements. So let's just skip on through and end our cross-examination. Your Honor, we have learned there were others at Global Studios on the day in question. The director and the producer and some bigwigs were all present. Yet, as we stand here, they have not been questioned. I hold that it is impossible to declare a verdict on the defendant, Mr. Powers. The court acknowledges the defense's point. The prosecution will gather more information about the witness, Miss Oldbag, and more information about these other people we have just been told of. Careful not to careful not to grate your teeth too hard, you might make them crack. I understand, Your Honor. This ends the day's proceedings in the trial of Mr. Will Powers. That is all. This court is adjourned. Okay. October 18th, 1:04 p.m. District Court Defendant Lobby number 3. Thank you so much, Mr. Wright. I was right to ask you to defend me. Aw, really, it's nothing. Grin. Or should I say... We'll be going down to the studios to do some more investigating. We have to find out more about this director and producer. They'll be turning up in the next trial as witnesses, for certain. So now's my chance to get material for the cross-examination. So Nick, did we figure out just who was in the Steel Samurai costume? No, we haven't. Could it really have been old Windbag? What do you think, Mr. Powers? I don't think it was her, really. Neither do I, Nick. Yeah, I know. Look, I was just buying time back there. But the judge told you not to implicate the innocent. I know we kind of had to, but I mean, it's a bit improper for court etiquette, at the very least. Someone had to be the bad guy for a bit to take the pressure off Mr. Powers. Poor old Windbag. I kind of feel sorry for her. Well, she wasn't winning any points in there, with or without my accusation. Okay, let's get down to the studios. Right. We'll be back to visit you soon. Thanks. Thanks, guys. To be continued. I think we had a pretty successful day in court today. We can continue our next investigation into the producers and director in the next episode. I'm going to go ahead and just end things here. I hope you guys enjoyed this latest episode of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. If you did and you want to see more content from me, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I will see you all next time. Take care.